Robert Jenrick made himself look absolutely pathetic on Sky News today, and I'm quite annoyed at the way Labour have handled this as well. So Jenrick's latest angle has been a line that included in the sentencing guidelines that said a pre-sentencing report needs to be carried out if the perpetrator is from an ethnic background. His argument that this is two-tiered justice and that everybody should treat it equal regardless of their skin colour, which, when I first heard about this angle, I actually thought, yes, finally, something the Tories can actually hold the government to account for that isn't something the Tories have already messed up, and we can have some effective opposition. But as with the Tories, it's all about the detail. The first red flag was the way he's acted about it. Rather than actually taking this seriously, he's just trying to make cheap political points from it. He's acting like a proper man-child. And then when you actually look at the detail of this, it's not only was it approved by the Tories when they were government and signed off by Labour when they took over government, but it's actually designed to stop two-tier justice. So this is from the government's own website, and you can see that people from ethnic minorities are more likely to be sent to prison than white British person for the same crime. So where Robert Jenrick is trying to claim that this would mean that if two people were up for the same crime and one was white and one was from an ethnic background, he's trying to claim that the person from a white background would go to prison, whereas the person from an ethnic background would probably get a community service order or something. And Labour have allowed Jenrick to direct the narrative this way. The way the current system is set up it actually does mean that the people from ethnic minority backgrounds would most likely be sent to prison for crimes that don't necessarily require a custodial sentence, where a white person is probably going to get away with a lesser form of punishment. So this pre-sentence report is designed to stop that inequality. That is two-tier justice, and that's what's currently in place. And yet Labour are now forcing legislation to take it out because Robert Jenrick said so. And just to point out his man-childness about this, when he's asked if he would support the measures that they're bringing in, he still can't bring himself to do it.
Emerged that the Justice Secretary is going to legislate to change the guidance that came out. We're expecting something to be announced this week on that front. Is that something you'll welcome?
Look, in 15 hours' time, two-tier biased sentencing rules are going to come into effect in this country. And so as we speak this morning, there will be judges and lawyers preparing cases for tomorrow whereby they will have to implement rules which are biased against men, against white people, against Christians. And the Justice Secretary has done absolutely nothing to resolve this. I warned her weeks ago. I brought forward a bill which would have given her the power to amend or reject these bias guidelines. She rejected that bill. I told her to sack the members of the Sentencing Council that did this. She refused to do so. She sat on her hands, and now, by her own admission, she is going to be presiding over two-tier justice by the time we wake up tomorrow morning.
Well, I mean, it's interesting in terms of the process and timing. I don't think you would expect the opposition to have picked up bills, the government to pick up opposition bills in the way that you're suggesting she could have done seamlessly.
But why didn't she bring forward her own bill?
Well, she might.
If for party politics she refused to take my bill forward, why didn't she bring her own one?
As Shadow Justice Secretary, you'll understand as well that it's important to maintain separation of powers, and there's a legal process that needs to go through. She did write a letter to the head of the Sentencing Council, a reply that only was forthcoming on Friday to say the guidelines do not require revision.
Let's just unpick what happened here. She didn't even know about these guidelines until I raised them in the House of Commons.
We've discussed that.
She then held a meeting. It then took her a week to write to the Sentencing Council. A week. She then got a letter back on Friday. She's not brought forward emergency legislation. There is no way...
But she's not going to bring it forward on Sunday.
Well, there's no way that she will be able to resolve this today. And so people will be being brought through the justice system tomorrow under this two-tier justice system.
Your own government oversaw a significant amount of the development of these guidelines, and your former minister as well expressed support for the direction of travel. So I think both parties...
That's not correct, Wolf. The Sentencing Council themselves have said that the guidelines that are coming into place tomorrow morning are materially different from any one that was seen by the last Conservative government. But what we've just discovered in the last few days is that this is much wider than that.
In terms of legislation that could be brought forward this week to overturn these guidelines, is that something you'll support when it comes?
Well, we'll have to see, but as of this morning, we know absolutely nothing about this. It's too little and it's too late. There are literally cases going to be heard in 15 hours' time under a system that the Justice Secretary has admitted is two-tier. This flies in the face of the rule of law. We all want to be treated equally before the law, regardless of the colour of your skin or the faith that you follow. And because of the sheer incompetence of this Justice Secretary, that is not going to be the case from tomorrow morning.
The last time Robert Jenrick appeared on this channel was because the Justice Secretary was actually ripping him a new one. So go watch that next, because it's on screen now. Don't forget to hit that like button. And I'll see you next time.